However, despite the emergence of weapons such as DF-21D, senior Navy leaders and some analysts have questioned the ability of the weapon like this to actually hit and destroy carriers on the move at 30 knots from 1,000 miles away. The U.S. Navy is planning to finalize weapons integration on its new USS Ford carrier and explode bombs in various sea conditions near the ship to prepare for major combat on the open seas, service officials said. Service weapons testers will detonate a wide range of bombs, to include a variety of underwater sea mines to assess the carrier's ability to withstand enemy attacks. Shock trials, as they're called, are typically one of the final stages in the Navy process designed to bring warships from development to operational deployment. The USS Gerald R. Ford will conduct further trials and testing, culminating in fall ship shock trials. The ship will then work up for deployment in parallel with its initial operational testing and evaluation. William Couch, an official with Naval Sea Systems Command, told Warrior Maven. Recommended, we went aboard the most powerful aircraft carrier ever built. Recommended, this is how China would invade Taiwan, and how to stop it. Recommended, North Korea's most lethal weapon isn't nukes. Testing how the carrier can hold up to massive nearby explosions will follow what's called a post-shakedown availability, involving a final integration of various combat systems. The post-shakedown availability is planned for 12 months, with the critical path being advanced weapons elevator construction and advanced arresting gear water twister upgrades. Couch added. The Navy's decision to have shock trials for its first Ford-class carrier, scheduled for deployment in 2022, seems to be of particular relevance in today's modern threat environment. In a manner far more threatening than most previously known threats to Navy aircraft carriers, potential adversaries have in recent years been designing and testing weapons specifically engineered to destroy U.S. carriers. One such threat is the Chinese-built DF-21D carrier killer anti-ship missile. This weapon, now actively being developed and tested by the Chinese military, can reportedly hit moving carriers at ranges up to 900 nautical miles. Accordingly, unlike the last 15 years of major U.S. military counterinsurgency operations where carriers operated largely uncontested, potential future conflict will likely require much more advanced carrier defenses, service developers have explained. A 2007 Department of Defense-directed shock trials analysis by the non-profit MITRE Corporation explains that many of the expected or most probable threats to warships come from non-contact explosions where a high-pressure wave is launched towards the ship. MITRE's report, interestingly, also identifies the inspiration for shock trials as one originating from World War II. During World War II, it was discovered that although such near-miss explosions do not cause serious hull or superstructure damage, the shock and vibrations associated with the blast nonetheless incapacitate the ship by knocking out critical components and systems. The MITRE assessment, called Navy Ship Underwater Shock Prediction and Testing Capability Study, states. The MITRE analysis further specifies that following a nearby explosion, the bulkhead of a ship can oscillate, causing the ship to move upward. Strong localized deformations are seen in the deck modes, which different parts of the decks moving at different frequencies from each other, MITRE writes. The existence and timing of USS Ford shock trials has been the focus of much consideration. Given that post-shock trial evaluations and damage assessments can result in a need to make modifications to the ship, some Navy developers wanted to save shock trials for the second Ford-class carrier, the USS Kennedy. The rationale, according to multiple reports, was to ensure the anticipated USS Ford deployment time frame was not delayed. However, a directive from Deputy Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan, following input from the Senate Armed Services Committee, ensured that shock trials will occur on schedule for the USS Ford. Data analysis following shock trials has, over the years, shown that even small ship component failures can have large consequences. a component shock qualification procedure which ensures the survivability of 99% of the critical components still is not good enough to ensure a ship's continued operational capability in the aftermath of a nearby underwater explosion. MITRE writes. Also, given that the USS Ford is introducing a range of as-of-yet unprecedented carrier technologies, testing the impact of nearby attacks on the ship may be of greater significance than previous shock trials conducted for other ships. Pages.